Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Danny from The Glitter Rose. Today for this week's episode of Two Ways Tuesdays, we're going to be looking at the embossing folder called Beautiful Butterflies. And gee, I think it's beautiful. So I've done two different techniques with two very different colorways to show that there are different ways that you can use your stash. The whole idea behind Two Ways Tuesdays is to prove that you probably don't need to race out and get brand new everything, that there are different ways to use what's in your stash already to produce very different looking cards. So if this video is of any interest, please be sure to stick around, hit the like button and subscribe. I'd like to welcome all my new subscribers. Welcome back my not so new subscribers. I really appreciate each and every one of you. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so for this card, we're going to start with some Altenew dye ink, and I'm using their black ink, and I'm just going to rub it on the embossing folder. I start off by rubbing it, and then to finish it, I'll tap it just to get rid of the streaks. Sometimes I think doing those long sweeping motions makes the ink look very streaky. So by tapping it, it creates a much smoother effect. I have tried pigment ink for this technique and I prefer dye ink. I think the result is a lot nicer. So I'll always just grab one of my dye inks. And the Altenew, I don't know what it is about the Altenew dye ink in the black, but it smells so beautiful. Now I've just picked a place that I like and I'm putting a tiny bit of tape just on the side to hold it in place. Not enough, just not enough to cover up where I want the black ink to go. I'm just going to run it through my die cut machine. I like how that's come out. This is just the first time I've sent it through. I'll send it through again once it's all coloured, but I'm happy with that for the base. Now I'm going to go in with my colours. I'm going to use my Amy Tangerine Altenew colours. I don't use them enough, but they're also probably my brightest, so I want them nice and bright. So I'm just using my Spellbinder blending brush and just going in. I'm not worrying too much about getting the colours in perfect places. I want them all to sort of mix in at the end, so we'll be going over with all the different colours to sort of make them blend. But I do want, colours for the certain objects in the picture. Now I'm going in with some purple. And these colours are just so gorgeous. I'm just blending them. But I'll also overblend areas of the butterflies, just so it's all cohesive and it looks nice. And now for some yellow. I think it needs some yellow. I just used a little blending brush for this one. So I've decided for this card I'm going to focus on using supplies that I got from Mother's Day. I think my kids will love seeing me using the items that they bought me. So that's what I'm going to do for these cards. I was pretty excited when I saw this butterflies embossing folder. I knew I wanted it when it came out, but I never grabbed it, so I'm happy I've got it now. I'm going to finish up with some orange now. And then I think we're pretty much done. I'm just going to concentrate on popping some orange and yellows in amongst the other colours. I think it's looking pretty good. I think it's going to end up looking pretty good by the time it goes back through the embossing folder. But at the moment, It's going through its ugly stage, but we need to stick with it. Okay, so same technique as before, just popping on that ink onto the embossing folder. I don't need to cover the whole thing, just where the paper's going to be. By putting it through, you get that deeper black, but also black on top of where you've inked, so it looks more cohesive, and it just looks better. But wait and see. When you put it through again, you just need to make sure that you line up exactly where it was before, or you'll have a very blurred image. But it's pretty easy. It sort of just locks in place from where it was embossed before. I'm going to run it through the machine and I'll be back. Ta-da! Oh, I'm so happy with it. I think it's really nice. See, it was worth sticking with it. I think that's stunning. Just gorgeous. The depth and just, I think it's striking. I love it. Okay, so I started building the card off camera. I've got an A2 card panel. On top of that, I've popped some pink cardstock. Behind the butterflies, I've popped a panel of pop-up foam the same size as the butterflies. The reason I pop-up foam for the front panel is that if I'm using something that could be a background as a focal point, I find popping that out on some pop-up foam just makes it stand out. It looks more finished than it all being layered on top of each other. It makes it look more of a focal point rather than a background, if that makes sense. It might be as clear as mud, but that's my rationing behind it, and I think it looks really good. So here I'm using some pop-up foam again, just to pop up the sentiment. The sentiment is, it's called Curved Everyday Sentiments, which is actually a hot foil plate. I've better pressed it in some black ink. I know they say you can't better press hot foil plates, but I think if you're careful, you can. It's looking pretty good. I just need some crystals, so I'm just using my clear crystals just to pop them on. Putting them randomly. And as usual, I'll use an uneven number. I'm going to glue this onto an A2 card base, and I'll show you the finished product. Oops, I'm just going to stitch this video in between. I forgot to pop my deco color on, so this was after I'd finished. So this is me just finishing off with some deco color gold paint pen, and that I think just finishes it. Here we are, all finished. Let's get on to the next one. Okay, so for this card, I'm imagining a soft, sort of romantic card with soft pinks, complete opposite of the last card. Let's see if I can do it. So I'm going in with Ballet Slipper, which is my softest pink, and I just want sort of an ombre effect. I'm not worrying too much about it being perfect because by the time it's embossed, you won't be able to tell anyway. I'll fast forward this next section because everybody's seen ink blending. I'm sure everyone's done ink blending, but I won't cut it out completely. Well, that's a bit pretty. I'm going to run it through my embossing folder and I'll show you the result. Yeah, it came out of the embossing folder quite nicely. I'm happy with that. I know I want to have To the Happy Couple and some flowers on here. I'm just not sure how to do it or where to put them. So I'm just going to be auditioning different bits and bobs, see what I want. These flowers are by Couture Creations. And I will say they are not the easiest thing to get off their backing paper. I realize I don't want them moving during freight, but Couture Creations, we need to be able to get them off in one piece. There's got to be a better solution. Okay, so after some struggles with the flowers and placements, I'm composed myself, and now I'm back. I have got my A2 card base. I've popped on some very soft pink cardstock, and I've decided to pop some Spellbinders pop-up foam behind the butterflies just to make it look more of a focal point. And I'm going to glue all those down. I'm going in again with the Curved Everyday Sentiment by Spellbinders, which I have better pressed in a pink ink. I just think it looks really nice and it works well for the card. It says To the Happy Couple. So I'm just going to glue that down, and then I might work out those flowers where I want them and finish it off with some sparkles. Got to have sparkles. Okay, so I want to put those pretty flowers in the corners. I think that will frame it nicely, and I'm just using, I think it's called red line tape because it's really strong. Just stuck that on the bottom of the flowers and then sticking it on. I might end up going in with some hot glue just to make sure that they're properly secure. Oops. But I think at the moment that'll just hold them down enough for this video. And I think that looks really pretty. One thing that I'm mindful of is to make sure that the leaves are pointing inwards rather than outwards. If they're pointed inwards, it just brings the viewer's eye to the middle of the card. Otherwise, your eyes don't know where to go. So it focuses your eyes into the center of the card. I think that looks really pretty. I'm happy with that. And now just for some bling. I managed to get a bit of black from my hands on just one section of the wing of the main butterfly. So that's where the first crystal will go to cover that up. Tell me you guys do that too. I think this card has really turned out like I was hoping it to. It's nice when your vision turns into reality. Doesn't happen all the time. But I'm quite happy with it. I think it's really sweet. So cards are nearly finished. Just popping on some bling and we'll be done. And this is it finished. Those flowers got me, but we got there in the end. I think it looks very sweet. Can't believe we've just completed episode 10 of Two Ways Tuesdays. I think this was a successful one. I've made two completely different cards. I'm not sure if you could get two more different cards, but they've still got very similar elements, but they just look so incredibly different. Let me know down below which is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Again, if this is of any use to you, or if you found it entertaining, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.